Alright guys, I'm showing you my new leopard gecko called Spock that I'm adding to my massive reptile collection. I've currently got Savonoi down there, but he's never really coming out much, he's quite camera shy to be honest. And then that guy in there, the little leopard gecko, that is Spock. Now the main reason I'm making the video is obviously to introduce Spock to my collection for my YouTube channel, but not only that, so today I got Spock offline on one of these buy-sell trading sites called Gumtree, and they advertised him 80 quid with his vivarium, or tank even, I'm not too sure what you would call it, and that's the one there. And obviously on the ad it said came with all the logs, water dish, came with 3 hides. There's one hide in the corner there, which is I've taken out, but I'll explain that in a sec. You've got the middle one, and then at the back here you've got another one, and then you've got a rock there, it's the heat rock, and it comes with a heat mat, which I've got on the side here, and then down there I've got all my electronics plugged into it. It did come with a heat bulb at the top, and a UVB lamp, but I've taken them out for reasons which I'll explain in a sec now. Basically, I don't know if you know much about reptiles, but I know quite a bit. Now you want to make sure they've got clean water every day, and especially with leopard geckos, you'd feed them crickets, covered in calcium powder, or locusts, or other small reptiles, but you want to avoid waxworms and mealworms because they contain too much fat. And when you do, you'd rub them in calcium dust and then you'd feed them daily. And obviously, whilst you do that, I'd always change the water and check for any mess. Now, I don't know what the people I bought them from, and I'm not saying names, but I paid 70 quid, but they wanted 80, but I braggled a bit and managed to get the price down, which is a fair price, because the leopard gecko is what's called grade A, which is where he's got, he's not missing any bits, he's in perfect health and everything. But as I lifted up one of the hides, just to have a look round, I found this. And all that mess in the background is what you think it is, and it's absolutely minging. That is a good 3 months worth for my leopard gecko, and it's absolutely disgusting. And how you could not just how you just don't check on an animal or just don't maintain it and just basically neglect it. It's disgusting. I don't know if you can see quite clearly the amount of mess that is. That's just revolting. I haven't yet to check that one or to check the eggs back there, but that is just horrible. And not only that, if you see here, the amount of sand, you want about a third of that maximum, and it's really bad. And you should never use sand for leopard geckos, even though some people say you can, some people say you can't if it's calcium sand. But no, you want to avoid using sand for leopard geckos because it causes impaction, and not only that, they eat a lot and they feed down. Whenever they bite down, and it's not the best thing. So earlier on I went to the store to get a heat bulb, and the heat mat isn't working very well, but that might just be because of the ton of sand that's on top of there. But the little guy's in there. And this is the Viv I'm going to give to my bearded dragon Dennis when he comes in a few weeks. But it's empty at the moment, so I thought, well, I panicked, I'll put him in there. Because I thought the Viv was all fine when I saw it on the site, but apparently not. So what I've got is I got this cocoa fibre brick. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but I was also watching YouTube videos before I got the leopard gecko to make sure I knew how to look after him. And what you do is you break this down, mix it with warm water, and it makes a really good substrate. You dry it all out, and then it's absolutely perfect for them. And it also holds humidity quite well for when they're shedding. So you need to do is spray a bit of water in there, and it'd be fine to shed. I got that one. I also got some mealworms that the woman gave me. Now, she said she was a really big reptile enthusiast, but to neglect your animal like that, I don't know. Now, pretty much 90% of these are dead. I don't know if you can see it, but 90%. So, and these are what are they? They're standard mealworms. If you can see that on the front. Now, you only want to feed these to your reptile every 3 days, because otherwise they'd get fat. And as he's a 6-year-old, fully grown male leopard gecko, you do it the maximum 4 days, if that. Some are moving around in there, don't know if you can quite see that. But you're supposed to feed them crickets or locusts at least every day with some calcium, and that's if there isn't a UVB. Now, the UVB they had, I threw away, because on one side it was absolutely burnt out, and it was just in absolutely poor condition that when I unplugged it I could smell burning, and the wires were that bad that if you stood near it and it vibrated, it would flicker on and off, and it was just absolutely terrible. So and they didn't even have a thermostat either, so to make sure I controlled the heat, I've gone out and spent 30 quid on a brand new dimming thermostat for the heat bulb. I got 2 of the bulbs, which are the ones here. They're 100 watt and they provide UVA, and the guy from the pet shop specifically recommended these ones, and he's a good mate of mine, so I trust him. So I've got myself those ones for him, which I'll set up in a bit. But first I've also got to make sure I've fully cleaned the Viv, as it's absolutely filthy. So I got myself this, I don't know how you'd pronounce that, Beefar, and it's a deep clean for reptiles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that and fully go across all of the glass, as you can probably see. Let's take the camera lens is clean, but you can see the reflection, that's just on one side. that side there is just absolutely filthy, and yeah, it needs to be properly cleaned. I'm going to change the back panel as that's faded as well, and I've got a spare one somewhere. So I'm now going to be changing that, but first I'll do a live feed. So what I'm going to do is, as Spock is in the back there, I've already pre-prepared some locusts with some calcium dust on there. Then if you can see these, it should just be on there. So I'll take these over now. It's going to be quite hard to do with only one hand on the camera and then one hand trying to feed him locusts, crickets even. So I'm going to go open these up. I just got these from the store today. I think one of them's dead actually. So now all I'd literally do is I'd pick them up. Hope if I can get hold of them. If you can quite see him down there. All I now do is I know he's behind there. So if I pick him up and I drop him down there. So if he goes behind the height, then that's where I'd be good. Because that is where he's at. So I could just pick up these ones. Drop him behind there. He's covered in calcium dust, which would be ideal for the for Spock. Don't even quite see this very well. Where is he going? Is that one there? There's one just here. I'd drop him in. Yeah. Oh, there's another one. I'm going to feed him about 5, which is a good size, as they're about large crickets, and he is a full-grown leopard gecko, and I don't know what he's been fed. But I am a little bit concerned, as now leopard geckos only eat insects, so they'll eat these today, and then like in a few days I'll feed them some of those mealworms if they're any alive, and then I'll feed these tomorrow and the next day. But the one thing they gave me, and this is they've been using all the time, is the calcium dust that they gave me. But it's not calcium dust, and I was quite surprised by this. It actually says, if you can see it says gecko food, and right on the front, I don't know if you can quite see it, I'll read it myself, it says, a complete pet food for fruit-eating geckos. Now on the front, that's as far as I can say, it's the crested gecko, the one in orange, and the one on top I'm not too sure. But that's for fruit-eating geckos. Now, it's been opened, but if they've been using that as calcium powder, bear with me one sec. Yeah, that one there. But that doesn't look at all like calcium powder. Well, the stuff I get is that one there, the Advanced Reptile Care, which I also use for the bearded dragon when he comes, which has got all the vitamins, and all of that print there, if you can quite see it, is all of the vitamins. It's got all the calcium, it's literally brilliant. It's about £3-4 just for a small packet, but it's quite expensive, but it has literally everything you would ever need. But so that would be this video, but I just thought I'd do a quick short one just before I send them off to bed, and I'm going to clean out all the reptile stuff, so have a good night.